Hey everybody, Voltas here, coming through your speakers, and today we've got a continuation of some casting I've done previously, but I actually did it in backwards order, so if you've seen my recent cast between DongRaeGu and Stralok, ignore it, because it was the last of 3 in this IEM New York challenge. But it was such a good matchup, I wanted to check out the other 2, so let's go ahead and get this one started. Today we're looking at these 2 on Tal'Darim Altar, and on the lower right hand corner, excuse me, this is not Tal'Darim Altar, this is Shakur's Plateau. Of course it's Shakur's Plateau. On the lower right hand corner of Shakur's Plateau, the map with the smiley faces, we have MVP's very own DonRaeGu. He's from Korea, South Korea, and actually it has to be South Korea because, like North Korea, I don't think they have lights, let alone computers. So yeah, he's from South Korea. And on the left side, and he's also known as, just to let you know, he's known as the Terran killer. So appropriately enough, we have a Terran for him to try to kill, and that is none other than Stralok. Straight out of, I believe he's Ukrainian. I could be wrong, and I know I messed up on one guy, and they were like, no, he's from Finland. But I believe this guy is Ukrainian, so, string me out in the comments if I'm wrong. And by the way, I'm just getting started at this, so any kind of thumbs up, subscribing is greatly appreciated. Also, comments down at the bottom are appreciated. I've gotten some feedback from some individuals already, and I do take it into consideration. I try to make this as entertaining as possible. The reason why I do this is not to annoy you or make you mad. It's because I want to participate in the esports community, help out where I can. I saw that there wasn't the games that I wanted to see out there, and rather than complain, I decided to start doing it myself. So any input, any comments are appreciated, even the bad, but I'd rather hear where I need to go in the right direction. All right, so let's get this started. Looks like DongRaeGu has done his early expand to his natural, not so early for Zerg. A lot of times you have to pretty much be ahead of your opponent. Stralok is kind of poking around inside his base. He's going to see that DongRaeGu has his gas up and his pool almost complete. He watched it complete there, so he's got a pretty good understanding of the timing as far as when he can see some aggression from the Zerg, but he has already, like any good Terran, already walled off, and he's got a Reaper out that's going to probably continue some kind of harassment or at least observation, some map dominance with that. I usually you only see nowadays. I remember early on in beta and then in release, they were a lot more useful, the Reapers, as far as getting a few up there and actually taking out your opponent. But, with some changes, they've definitely balanced them out, that they're still a really good unit for early scouting and even utilized later in the game to just kind of maintain that map presence, but they're not that impending early doom that you used to see in previous games. And as you can see right now, he's just kind of poking his way outside, keeping an eye on the Zerg, figuring out when he's going to be pushing out, or at least figuring out the level of creep that's going on. So let's look at the production tab and see what these guys are up to. Nothing too crazy. Got metabolic boost coming for the Zerglings, so they're going to have some Zergling speed. He did lift up that barracks, and he's bringing it to the back. I'm not sure what he's going to do with it. He does have that second command center ready to plop down on the lower level. He's going to bring that command center down and put up a barracks, try to create a wall there, prevent any Zergling aggression against that new natural expansion that's about ready to occur. It looks like both sides are kind of jockeying for a more macro play, which is always good to see. A lot of times, especially with Zerg and Terran, if the Zerg does that early pressure, you pretty much know it's going to be a shorter game. So it looks like we are in for somewhat of a longer game. I say that, but those Zerglings are trying to get up there, and they do get cut off by raising the supply depot. So not a lot of harm done there. They are going to kind of hang out in the base to keep an eye on things. And then, of course, with that bunker up front, they wouldn't make it out alive anyway. So I think they're they're not gonna make it, but you know what they can see while they're here will be enough. Got these 2 Marines going in to clean them up. Got some mules going down, so the second base is in play. We do see that he's got a reactor on, or excuse me, a tech lab on his factory, and he is researching siege. So we are going to see kind of like the standard Terran mech / bio tank play. I'm not sure how deep he's going to go into his mech play. Now that's unusual. He's already got his 3rd command center in place. So he's definitely... Okay, wow, we've got some pretty early aggression from the Zerg. All right, took out that barracks. Is he going to be able to hold it off? He does have siege just now finished. They are going to take out that tank, but I think this siege is going to help out repairing the supply depot, which is preventing the Zerg from getting in the base. And honestly, with the repair that he's doing on that tank alone is being the defense. Now, he did lose a lot of his SCVs that were harvesting in his natural, and he is kind of locked down right now. Kind of a standoff. DongRaeGu is going to continue to put that kind of pressure. Now, I don't know why he's letting this tank go down. Oh, well, I guess if he goes up and tries to attack it, that's going to be quite painful with the siege on the high ground. But it is kind of a stalemate here. He's got to pull back those roaches, or... Okay, there we go. Let's go look on the Zerg side. He is kind of in full bloom over here. We've got an evolution chamber in place. We've got 2 queens. It looks like his main is fully saturated and his secondary is getting upgraded. He is putting down a spire, so we will see some Muta play. He will be moving into some Muta aggression. All right, now it looks like he finally did clean up that early push from DonRaeGu. Stim is almost complete. He's putting down some barracks, so he's trying to get himself back into that well-established Terran hunkering down. Looks like another... Is that a supply depot? Okay, well, it looks like he built a barracks or a bunker and then just got rid of it. And one nice thing about bunkers, you get all of your money back. So, you know, place it in the wrong place, he's all fine. Now, he is adding 2 gases in a row, so we are going to see some kind of move towards some heavy mech or possibly even Ravens? I don't know. We'll see. He does have 1 starport in play. It looks like more barracks are going down, so he's going to have a total of, what is it, 5 barracks, 1 factory, and a starport. So a decent balance between mech and bio right now. He is building a lot of tanks, so it looks like there are going to be... He's going to continue to do tank play, but he is getting combat shield. So that means that combat shield and Terran infantry level 1 attacks. So he is going to stick with bio. He's not going to move totally to mech play, which I think is a relatively wise choice. Now on the Zerg side, we see the creep definitely creeping across. Now we see the mutas coming in. We'll see what kind of harassment he can do with those. He does have some Marines ready to respond to that with a medevac in tow. These mutas not really doing the harassment needed, but you know, honestly, if you look at the map, we've got pretty much a decent amount of map control for DonRaeGu. The Terran hasn't been able to really significantly get out of his base, but that's not too that's pretty predictable in a Zerg versus Terran matchup. Little damage with those mutas, but I don't think he's really doing what he needs. Now there is going to be a significant timing push from the Terran here, taking up the Zalnaga Tower, pushing in, cleaning up a little bit of this creep. And it looks like, okay, he stims up. That was kind of a waste of a stim to try to push off those mutas. Okay, now the Banelings and the Zerglings come in, and oh! That's the end of that Terran army. Now, he only sent half of them, so he's still got somewhat of a secure setup over here. But I think he wasted a lot of stims there, and he didn't really make the push he wanted to. And, you know, he is spreading his tanks out a little thin, and with this Muta presence that doesn't seem to be climbing in numbers, you know, he sets himself up for some vulnerability when he stretches himself thin with those tanks, because he's got to keep those Marines available to prevent those Mutas from taking out the tanks. He's doing a decent job, and he has expanded out to this third expansion, which, you know, I think on this play, I've seen play between Terran and Zerg on this map quite often, and I think it's a lot easier for the Zerg to expand out to this area, because by then they've got the creep and they've kind of got that map presence, whereas in Terran seems to always be sticking their neck out when they position themselves at this third. I've even seen Terran a lot of times go up to make their third over here. Now it looks like we have some more Muta harassment out on the back, and being a lot more effective than I thought. A few of those Mutas actually doing some damage to the SCVs on the back line there. We do have some missile turrets up. Marines are streaming out. I think they ran back there to try to get rid of that Muta harassment. And now it looks like, if we look at the Army tab, it looks like both sides are relatively even in army size, about 160, 160. Well, actually it is 160, 160. So they are getting close to that 200 threshold. So now it's just a matter of what army combination you can put together and how you micro. So this should be souping up to be somewhat of an interesting matchup here. Both sides pretty much established themselves with their first three. It looks like Zerg has a solid 4 now, Maynarding some drones up to his 4th. So he's pretty solid with 4 bases. Infestation pit up. So we will see some infestors on the field. More roaches, more mutas. You look at production. Looks like Terran is kind of keeping ahead in the upgrades. Let's look at the air upgrades right now. We've got 1-1. Terran is looking at working on his level 1 vehicle upgrades, and he's got 1-1. So I guess no significant difference in the upgrade progress for either side. Now these mutas kind of reached that threshold, took out those turrets, and we do have a couple Thors up there, which should be able to defend against this Muta harass. He's definitely doing a good job of going between the higher and lower ground. Is getting some pot shots in with his Muta numbers. Now he does have a good number of Mutas. A lot of times people will just have that little swarm to keep the pestering and you know, keep Terran honest as far as being able to harass. But this is a pretty significant set of troops. Now we do see the Terran pushing out, and he is trying to deal with, looks like Zerglings and Mutas that are in play. I'm not sure where the infestors or what's going on there, and we do have a significant engagement. Zerglings are going down. I would say that's pretty much a win for the Terran. Let's look at the units lost tab, and yes, Zerg is definitely ahead by 1,000. Not a huge number, but Terran is going for the push into the Zerg base, and he is going to quickly take down this 5th expansion, or 5th base. Okay, nice fungal growth on the Terran units, taking them down to almost nothing. Banelings just harmlessly fall off the edge of that Thor. That infestor was just meant to die, running into the fray like that. Now the Terran is pushing up into the creep here, but you know, those Marines are severely hurt. The tanks are sieging up, so we do have some kind of presence within the Zerg's base. Alright, now we're seeing the drones, and we're seeing more mutas. Is he going to be able to take out this Terran incursion? And it looks like he will do so. We do have some backup coming in. Terran is pretty much sticking in there. Stralok doing a good job of holding steady despite the fact that he had that push from the Zerg. He did lose this base, so that's 2 bases down for the Zerg. He does not want to see this. More mutas coming in, and they are going to finally take apart the back of this group. Marines come in and destroy another base. And I think they're finally going to get cleaned up by these oh, no. Wow, that was interesting. I thought that they were going to be able to clean that up, but they kind of reached that threshold, and after losing 3 bases, DonRaeGu quickly just tapped out. I guess that was it. And that's really kind of what you have to do with Zerg. You've got to break their back before they get really moving on you. And you know, Stralok did a very good job of a nice timing push and able to keep on reinforcing despite the fact he was losing the numbers. Overall, a good play, and I think this was the first of 3. I've already got the last of the 3 up on the interweb, and maybe I can reorder them or something. Because I did that one, and then I got interested in this battle, and I think I'm going to do the other 2. Anyway, interesting matchup, and we know that they go to 3, so you can figure out what happens on duel site, and see you later.